Hello Taurus, and welcome to your Taurus May 2022 reading and predictions. I'm Nigel Saint James. For those of you who are stopping by for the first time, and if you are, welcome. We hope to see more of you here because we have the best tarot club on the internet. Don't we, subscribers? Love to see you always, of course. Now, I'm not wearing a suit today because well, I'm going to do this reading and then I'm going to go out on, would you call it a date? Maybe, I don't know, I suppose you would. I think, I got this old denim jacket. Women like denim, I think, don't they? I don't know. We shall soon find out. Anyway, I'm going to draw from an oracle deck, a card, which we'll talk about. Now, the reason why I'm using this oracle deck is because it's grown up. It's not like the baby stuff that you get in most oracle decks. And so we'll pull one for you now, and then we'll pull the tarot cards and see what there is in store for you. And we'll talk about it in just a second. Well, that says growth. Then interesting imagery on this. That's the other reason why I'm using it, because it's not made up of fairies and angels and, you know, goblins and things like that, but it's actually abstract spiritual work from artists in the Australian Aboriginal tradition. The Australian Aborigines, of course, have been effectively an undiluted ethnic group for something close to 40,000 years. And they have in that time, of course, had the ability to develop a great degree of spirituality. And if you ever do get the chance to look at Aboriginal spirituality and Dreamtime legends, I'd encourage you. We're going to take 5 tarot cards now from a medieval deck. That's why I've tamed it there also, because it's old. There's the 9 of Swords. What's there here? There's the Ace of Cups. I love the paintings on this stuff. 2 of Swords. Lovely, lovely indeed. 4 of Swords. Is there anything else that we can get in here? It's good to see the 4 of Swords there too. The 9 of Swords in that position is actually not as bad as you might ordinarily think. Now, I'm going to use quite a lot of astrology, I think, in this, because astrology seems to be beckoning to me for where the cards are sitting in their various positions. And finally, the card is this, which is the 5 of Swords. Well, why don't you come sit down here now next to me? We'll have a good close look at the cards together while I tell you what they mean. Right, now we have a number of Swords cards here for you. Look at them in this line here. This is the 9 of Swords, the 2, the 5, you got the 4 of Swords here. And then there's the Ace of Cups, which is full of love and beauty. But these things here, I think, maybe are a recognition of some troubled thoughts that you may be having. Let me turn first to this thing and see what it is that I'm being provided with. Well, growth, right for you. Growth is a cycle of life, yet there are cycles within cycles, helping you grow a little at a time so as not to overwhelm you. The end result is defined as an achievement. However, often during the growth cycle, events will occur that might challenge and stunt your growth. The same is to be said of a sapling, a baby tree, a little tree growing into a mature tree. Over its lifetime, the tree will experience challenges such as drought, flood, and fire. This will stunt the tree's growth for a time till the conditions are right for growth again. Only then will the sapling have the opportunity to reach full maturity as a sturdy and bountiful tree brimming with life. Now, do you understand what it is that I am getting at here? It is a time for you to grow and to move into the next phase of life. It is now time to look inward, begin your new growth and move forward. whether you choose to burst forward and grow quickly or take time adjusting to the new environment that has been created for you. The result will still be the same. You will grow and blossom as it is your time. The time for mourning is over for you, and the time to experience life in a different way is now upon you. There is nothing to fear. The worst is over. You have survived the challenges and are ready to let go of the past and move forward. So I want to look at this 5 of Swords that's here. Let's have a look at the 5. Come here, 5. You are the 5, yeah. 5 has got the planet of Mars around it. It's very aggressive, disruptive, very often. Numerologically, 5s can be difficult. But the astrology of this particular energy here, this card, is Venus ruling the first decan of Aquarius, the 22nd of January to the 29th of January. Well, look, Venus rules Taurus, which is an earth sign. But here we have Venus ruling an air sign. And that can be difficult in this card, because the two are at odds. Venus is a lover and not a fighter, where Aquarius is a rebel ruled by Uranus, and Aquarius is a fighter usually for causes. So the individualistic, dispassionate nature of Aquarius clashes with Venus, the planet of relationship. And Venus, I think, is also overwhelmed by the fiery and dispassionate nature of Mars in the numerology. So we don't have any astrological harmony in this card here. This is really talking of what I might call a Pyrrhic victory. There's obviously been a hunt and a couple of people, someone's died, someone wins, but no one wins, because the winner's crown, wreath if you like, is a crown of thorns. Now maybe there's a fear of loss or defeat here, fear of painful situations or experiences, fear of defeat. Maybe your self-confidence and self-esteem has taken something of a blow. Fears arise which prevent you trying to move forward in case the same sort of thing happens again. Fear of defeat dominates at the moment. It might be connected with relationships, or more generally, with the beginning of something which is of great importance to you. It is the fear of losing control, of experiencing the feeling that everything is slipping out of your hands. There could also be the fear of a new, which is Aquarius, relationship, which is Venus, or fears that push you back from bringing forward a new idea, and that's again Aquarius, that you are emotionally, Venus, attached to. So the astrology has a great degree to play here. Now, Aquarius is directed towards the future, and the challenge is to make room for your own objectivity and clarity. See this sky here opening up, despite any fear of defeat. Now, I think that what this says to me is that you are now ready to see your fear of defeat. The essential element of this energy here is fear, which is distorting your view of the present and of the unknown in your future also. The 5 of Swords can relate to a betrayal or a sneak attack by someone that you trust or do not suspect as your enemy. It can often mean jealous people around you, somebody who's jealous of the way you look and is running you down behind your back. But as I say, fear is irrational in nature, meaning it does not necessarily reflect the real situation. By recognizing this, you will set free all of those energies which have been bound up in your fear. If you are afraid to see control slipping out of your hands, remember The feeling that you are in control is simply an illusion. Seeing, understanding, accepting, and letting go of your fear will set you free. Now, what do you associate with the idea of defeat? Write down the answer to that question. What do you associate with the idea of defeat? Maybe share your answer with someone that you trust. And if old wounds are revealed, allow yourself to feel the pain. This is the only way for them to heal. And say this to yourself: I am not my fears. It is safe for me to live without guarding and defending myself all of the time. When I feel afraid, I open my heart and let love dissolve the fear. I accept my fear and I let it go. Now, there is what on first glance for many people is a troublesome card, but this has come here to tell you that things are going to be fine, I think. And the reason that I say that is, well, let's go through it, first of all, shall we? And we'll get to what I think the message is that needs to be imparted to you. Now, the veil that was hiding the reality has been removed, and all the cruelty of life befell the devastated woman who is filled with guilt and shame from the fact that she suddenly realized what was really happening. The revelation fills her heart with sorrow. Quite a stark image, isn't it, that one? Now, this is Mars in the second decan of Gemini, the 1st to the 11th of June. Now, the one-pointed nature of Mars. See, Mars was down here before. It's often a troublemaker, Mars. It can be good at times, but in fact, in the Vedic tradition, Mars is seen as a benefic. And I kind of agree with it from time to time. But the one-pointed, this is Mars in Gemini. The one-pointed nature of Mars doesn't sit well with the scattered energy of Gemini. Gemini is, if you go onto my playlist and you go for my astrology for beginners, you'll see what I mean when I talk about Gemini having scattered energy. It just blows everywhere. It's about expansion without anything directed. This is talking about cruelty to yourself, self-accusations, punishing yourself, maybe a passive resistance, maybe. You could be in an internal debate between two points of view. You are afraid to make a definite choice, then denigrate yourself for your indecisiveness. Or you make a wrong choice and then torture yourself with a bad conscience. And that bad conscience can arise in a number of different ways, because maybe you didn't react in the way that you felt you should have done at the time. Maybe you did something that you thought was wrong. Maybe you are ruminating over past hurts, and they still come and torture you and drive stakes into you while you bathe in blood. Well, if it's to do with past things, then you need, obviously, to let them go. Now, when I say obviously is very difficult, isn't it? Now, it is blessed to forgive. Why? Because forgiveness releases the person who forgives. It releases you. But it's very difficult, I have found. And many people that I speak to and give spiritual counsel and advice to, they raise with me the issue of, how do I forgive? And it's very hard. So what I say sometimes is, look, I'm not here to sell religion, but there is scriptural works all around the world, sacred scriptures. One of them happens to be a Christian these days, and when it was written, it was Jewish. It was written by Greek-speaking Jews, we don't know who wrote it. It was called the Gospel According to Luke. And in chapter 23, verse 34, I'm sure it was, the crucified Christ said to the people who were mocking him while he was nailed up on the cross, Father, forgive them, they don't know what they are doing. Now you can read those things literally, but it's better to read them spiritually. And what that says is it says that, look, I'm acknowledging that it's difficult for me to actually give the forgiveness myself, but I call upon you, God. Now they use the term Father because in those days that's the only way they could express the inexpressible. So they tried to put it in language that people could understand. So they used the term Father. It could just as easily have been Mother. It could have been it, the divinity. We project onto God what we think. We project onto God our psychology and emotions. I mean, if I was a zebra, I maybe would project onto God the qualities of a zebra. But it said, Father, forgive them. That is, look, I give it to God to forgive them. I want them forgiven because that's good for me spiritually. But can you do it for me? You do it for me. And because they don't know what they are doing, because people don't understand that when they transgress the moral law which existed before the appearance of space and time. And people have ways of rationalizing things all the time, as you know. They don't realize that what they're doing is bad spiritually and the effects long-term that it will have on people, or they don't realize, even when they're intentionally doing it, that it's wrong to do it. So say, Father, forgive them, and then you look back there and say, that's now forgiven. I can rest, I can set myself free from that. It might also be the case that you're concerned about things that what you have done yourself in the past. And I just say this to you, that despite what you may believe, you can disappoint people and still be good enough. You can make mistakes and still be capable and talented. You can let people down and still be worthwhile and deserving of love. Everybody has disappointed someone they care about. Everybody messes up, lets people down, makes mistakes. Not because we are inadequate or fundamentally inept, but because we are imperfect and fundamentally human. And expecting anything different is setting yourself up for failure, because nobody is perfect. But remember, you are loved. Well, some more swords here. Let's have a look at what's in the middle. Here is a woman that's deep in thought, contemplating what she should do about something which is troubling her mind. Now, during this process of this 5 and this 9 that you've gone through now, as you will go through it, you will find peace. Because this is the moon ruling the first decan of Libra, the 23rd of September to the 2nd of October. Now, this is a really happy combination. Did you know that your moon sign describes your instinctive or emotional energies? The moon in Libra, well, inner peace, the power to make decisions, and decisions regarding a situation or a relationship which engender spiritual peace. There's an agreement here. There is mental stability. With the moon in the sign of Libra, you're likely to have a deep need for peace and harmony in your life, and it's going to come. Now, this need for peace can be in your personal environment, your work, your relationship to others. The purpose of this card, I think, though, for you this month is that of neutrality. It's neither good nor bad, it's balanced. But in a suit of air, there are issues that come up. But you'll have the power to make decisions, and decisions regarding a situation or relationship. Do you know inner peace is a special gift? Protect it, but never try to cling to it. Now, it might be that you are having a hard time making up your mind about something or letting something go. Now, it's not acute, I don't think, even though these images are very in your face. But it's kind of sitting in the background, and it surfaces up every now and again, doesn't it? This thought, and particularly thoughts from the past. You could also be dealing with the pros and cons of a situation. You might lack the information you need to make the right decision at this time. But when you get the right information, it's like the light goes off. And you can see the situation for what it is, and you'll be in a much better position to make the decision that is right for you. So what areas in your life are especially important to you? You can now come calmly to the necessary decisions. You're going through that process of release. So take time for relaxation. You're in a good position now to examine your past, let it go, to look at your present, to plan your future. Write down your insights and say this: finally, a deep peace fills my heart. Now let's see what else there is. I think there might only be one to do. Oh no, there's a couple to do. Let's get into them. There's 4 of Swords here. Let's have a look at this. Well, this is quite straightforward. After the battle, the knight kneels in prayer alone. He will rest and regain his strength. This is what we've been talking about, isn't it? And this is about peace and detachment. And he's eliminating fuss completely. This is Jupiter in the 3rd decan of Libra, the 14th to the 22nd of October. Yeah, so Libra tries to find a balance in your life. And the need for balance, actually, can sometimes induce unrest. So don't be concerned if that happens, because Libra can also induce indecisiveness from time to time. And we were seeing a little bit of that there too, weren't we? So that's what we've got. But Jupiter, it gives you a period of rest from a difficult situation, as well as opening your higher mind's flexibility, which is needed to resolve conflicts in life. And Jupiter, importantly, allows you to move on after spiritual cleansing, recuperation, quiet consideration, and calm. You have now, I think, maybe the time or the need to take time out from a stressful situation. We've been talking about that. Maybe even a vacation if you can get it to recharge your batteries. A bit of a mental health break. It's not the end of the world. Trust your intuition, though, to know when is enough rest for you. And make the most of this mental health break to be at your strongest when you need to face any issues that turn up in your life. And you have enough inner clarity now to successfully carry out your plans. Be sure at all times that you feel good about what is happening, what supports or what hinders your clarity. Check your surroundings and rearrange them to support calm and centeredness. And say this to yourself, because you have earned it spiritually by going through this process: I am at peace within myself. Because then what you'll find is that you win the emotional jackpot, and you have here the Ace of Cups. See, it's an interesting process, isn't it? They tell you what's happening, these energies. Now, Scorpio, Sagittarius, and Libra are likely to be of importance to you during this time. The Cup suit really is the embodiment of the experiences of relationships, the pursuit of happiness, love, fulfillment, pleasure. But of course, you can't have these experiences unless you have also experienced the opposites, as you well know by now, don't you? You sure do. But this is talking about love in its purest sense and abundance. There's a possibility of a new relationship here, or the deepening of an existing relationship. I think you may well hear of a birth or a pregnancy here. There's lots of sensual passion around here, lots of sexual energy. That could be just in your fantasy life, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there's emotional balance available to be used and drawn upon, I think, for another 6 months at least. And there's also here, you've now regained a deep love of yourself. Because remember, nobody is perfect. The cup of unconditional love is being offered to you. Will you drink from it? Good opportunity for new relationships or new romance here. And as I say, you may well be hearing of a birth. Now the card represents unconditional love. So you should also give and forgive unconditionally. Now that's what came up here as well. It is the golden rule. The giving is not dependent on individual, perhaps close people. There's so much to share. All of existence can take part of it. Becoming one with the all-embracing, omnipresent love is such a silent ecstasy, a cosmic orgasm. You are in contact with all-embracing love. It fills you, and you can pass it on generously, lavishly to others. What is your way of expressing love? Just have this thought in mind at this time, because you have earned it. All-encompassing love fills me and my environment. Well, what a fantastic, interesting set of cards for you. That's the way it is for you this month. Well, I think that was fantastic, that energy for you. Looks like it's going to be a really good month for you, and what a lot of interesting things going on, and what an interesting set of cards, don't you think? Tell me what you think of these medieval cards, as to whether there's some, I don't really use them very often, but I must say they do speak to me, and you might also let me know whether you enjoy the this sort of Aboriginal artwork stuff that's in here. There's all sorts of different things. Very, very interesting. Great to see you. Great to see you. Thank you for sticking by for the reading. If you do happen to like it, can you please help me by smashing the like button on the way out? That will enable more people to see the video according to the YouTube gods. But in the meantime, remember this, and remember it always, that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. And until then, it's bye for now.